everybody. Little bit of a thing before we hop on into today's video. My recording audio went all a little wonky after an update, and the good chunk of this video is recorded in mono. So it's only going to come out of one ear for all of my chat audio, and I apologize for that. It has obviously been fixed since then, and the back end of the episode will be recorded normally. I do apologize. I could not find a way to fix it. So we're going to hop right on into it, and I do hope you enjoy. Hello everybody, Defense here, and welcome back to our Immersive Engineering PlayTorial. I thought of that I thought of that title a little bit after recording the previous episode, which was episode 1 of this series. I think PlayTorial is a really fun idea, because what I want to do with this series is kind of teach you guys about the mod, so why not? It's a tutorial that we play through, so PlayTorial makes sense. But a couple of little things may have changed since the last episode. I have a little bit of a tree farm going over here. Sugarcane farm. This farm's pretty much the same. I actually did find carrots but haven't planted them yet. And I set up a little villager breeder over here. That isn't working. I don't know why it's not working, but it's not. They've got the food, they've got the beds, they just don't like me. They even keep doing the hearts, and then they're just like, and grump. So, I don't know. I'm going to play around with it later. It's crazy now how much easier it is to create an iron farm and how much more annoying it is to get villagers to breed. So, we're going to be leaving them alone. I really only want that because I want to show you off the villagers that are in this mod. There's actually a couple of different ones. I'll bring them up in the book here once we get back over to our little area. And they are as follows. So let's actually start off with the beginning. Also, I want to apologize. I am a bit under the weather. I'm getting over being sick. So my voice may sound a little funny. So I apologize about that. But it says right here, Testificate with a degree. Villagers. During your travels, you may have come across various villagers and their studious various villages and their studious inhabitants. Some of them, in fact, qualify as engineers. Their professions and trade goods are outlined here. So there are a couple different ones. So we have the structural engineer right here. They seem pretty cool. We have the machinist right here. You can see they got the oil and the grease on their face. The electrician, the gunsmith, and the outfitter. So they're pretty much, pretty straightforward as is. The structural is this the first one? Yeah. Structural engineer deals in construction materials such as treated wood, scaffolding, and concrete. If you get friendly enough with them, they may even sell you a treasure map to a nearby mineral vein. This is why I want them, because going out and finding the ores in the world is pretty random, and I don't know what the ore gen is for the mod-specific ores. Obviously, since they redid the ore levels for spawning in 1.18, or 1.19, I apologize, that's what we're in right now, 1.18. So those are all different, and I'm assuming that these are also based on rarity with lead and aluminum and silver, but I don't know what their map is. So these guys here would be very nice because we can get mineral veins, which are very good. The deposit of ore found around your world are nothing new to you. What you have so far left out of consideration, though, are mineral veins, which contain a mix of different ores. Due to their wide and thin spread, the average miner cannot find them, but a special machine might be able to assist with that. So I can make a machine, which is the excavator, better than dwarves, which is something we're going to be getting into. As you can see, it is a multi-block building, and again, this is one of the best things about this mod, is it shows you everything you need to make these, and does it in a cool little thing here, and you can pause and play and skip through different steps. So those are very nice there. But we're going to continue on with villagers. We have the machinist. So actually, you know what? With this guy here, let's go to this one. So the engineer's crafting table, which is this thing right here, which we have already made. So if we had a villager over here, we give them this table, and they become the structural engineer. Next is the machinist. The machinist is an expert in metals, mechanics, and tools. They sell their surplus hammers, toolboxes, and drill heads. Particularly experienced machinists even know how to draw blueprints for graphite electrodes. Their workstation's an anvil. That's pretty straightforward. So the graphite electrode is made out of HOP graphite ingots. Those I actually don't know about. We're going to have to look into those. But these are used for, later on stuff like the arc furnace and stuff along those lines. The most common use of the hop graphite is in the creation of electrodes to be used in the arc furnace. The arc furnace is a later on machine, again, multi-block machine. We're not going to get into as much of that stuff right now. I just want to cover a bit of the earlier basics as we go. So that's what you can get from the machinist as like their end trade. And as I said, that's just a basic anvil, so we'll get one of those in the future. The electrician offers wire cutters, coils of wire, and pieces of Faraday suit. Some less reputable villagers may also have a stash of experimental weapon upgrades. Their workstation is an engineer's circuit table, which we are going to build in just a moment here. But yeah, I do like the little like individuality of each of the villagers too. It's nice to see. It's one of the things that I like that they changed when it came to the villager overhaul that Minecraft did specifically. So we're going to hop on in here because, actually, I'm going to make, so I set up some crafting stuff over here for us to make some stuff. And I'm going to start off with the blueprint. We're going to cover the blueprint in just a moment, but I want to cover this first because this is the engineer's workbench, which is engineer's circuit table. Hold on, did I grab the wrong one? I think that's, I think I might have just crafted the wrong one instead of grabbing this one. This one. Okay, so we already have this one from the building. So this is the one that the electrician will use. So we messed around with this. I don't actually know how this table works, so we're definitely going to have to check that out. There should be a whole section on the engineer circuit table in here, which will be very useful. I'm assuming this one is going to be for the gunsmith. Yes, so the engineer's workbench. I love how it breaks into little blueprints. That's cool when you break it. Alright. So yeah, that one there, again, I know nothing about this workbench, but deals with very recently popular firearms. Apart from selling various kinds of ammunition, they also manufacture some rare pieces for the revolver that influence its performance. Their workstation is the workbench. Revolver, pretty straightforward. Chamber for a 12 gauge, similar to the mining drill. So it is firearm, so that one would be pretty useful. And last but not least, the outfitter may not seem like a traditional engineer, although their field of work is no less precise. Whereas other manufacture components and assemble large structures, they instead design unique color patterns known as shaders. They sell shader grab bags, enabling you to randomly acquire pieces of their craft. Their workspace station is a shader banner, which is created by using a shader on a normal placed banner. So we're going to have to look into that a little bit more. We won't be, I wanted to get started on the villagers today. I may try and grind out some more, and we'll see what's going on with that. I'll probably tear that down, rebuild it again, and figure out what's going on with it. But a couple of items that were mentioned in there were some of the tools we can use. So we've already been using the hammer. We should have the shears. I think I might have put them in over here. Right here. So we have the engineer's. Oh, I already had a blueprint. Oh, these are actually different ones. Sweet. Okay. So we'll have the hammer, the shears, the toolbox, and then the screwdriver. So what this does is the toolbox is kind of just like pretty much as it says. It's a toolbox. I could store stuff in it. Can I not put stuff over there? And it pretty much just lines stuff out. And you can store items related to this. So you have this shelf here, which is for blueprints, tools. I can store all of my tools in here, which is pretty nice. So we may store some more stuff in here in future. I think, is there a way to access it? No. I might be thinking of the create mod. I know that I know in the create mod you can access your toolbox with having it on the ground. There may be a way to do it here, but we're not going to go too nuts trying to figure it out. But the next thing I want to go over is blueprints. So there are a couple different kinds. This one here is specialized projectiles, and this one here is crafting components. So the way this works is, let's see. No, okay. It's getting dark, so I'm going to see if I can find this real quick. There we go, crafting components. So this one here, for example, has a set price of 4 iron plates and 1 copper ingot. But if I create a blueprint and use the blueprint, it only costs 2 iron plates and 1 copper ingot in the engineer's workbench. So that cuts your prices almost in half for crafting a lot of different items. So I already have the 2 blueprints. One is craftable. This one here is craftable. I'm going to see what else. Can we craft the others? Yeah, so this is the banner. This one here is the common projectiles. That one we've already got. Crafting components. Metal press molds and metal press molds. So it looks like there's 2 different ones. Okay, so they do a couple of different things. So specialized projectiles, metal press molds. So each of these will make it less expensive to craft the item that's on them. So they're going to be very good for us to have. Again, you use it in this table here, and it lays out, it shows you what you can craft and how many you need for each item to make it, which is very helpful. So I'm really looking forward to that. These are going to help us out a lot. And just so we don't lose them, and we always have them on us, I am going to keep them in here. I'll probably craft up the others in the near future. I did find one and crafted the other. And you can keep components in here as well. It doesn't look like... there's got to be a setup for this. I didn't actually look over the toolbox. So we'll be able to do that in a moment. But there are a couple other things that we're going to look at today that are in the book, but I'm going to just talk about them right here. We have the kiln. This one I actually have to double check. The alloy kiln, I just needed to check. It is a 2x2x2. Okay. So this one is used to combine metals into other metals. So let's get this one set up right here. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2. And then I need my hammer. There we go. And this one will combine ground up ore into an alloy, which is something we're going to get into a little bit more later, but we'll just read through it right here. The alloy kiln is a simple furnace made of heat-resistant sandstone and bricks within it. Temperatures are high enough to allow metals to be melted into a fluid state and mixed, creating an alloy. This allows the creation of important alloys like electrum and constantan without requiring a tedious mixing of dust. To form the kiln, arrange, blah, blah, blah. Alright, so yeah, it'll show here. Gold grit and silver grit becomes electrum grit, and then you smelt that down. But using this, I think I can just put the stuff in. Do I have any gold? Okay, we'll do that. I'm gonna see if it'll use coal, because I'm already doing a bunch of coal coke for this to make more steel, and we'll be upgrading this real soon, real soon. Okay, so now we do have electrum, which is pretty dope. Alright, let's actually get the rest of this and the rest of this in there just to use up that. I don't want it to go to waste, especially because we used a thing of coal coke, which creates steel. But I actually want to see what else we can make. So let's take a look. So we can make insulating glass, which is useful for higher tier electricity transport on our power lines. We can make a constantan ingot. I don't actually know what that's used for. And we can make electrum ingots, and those are all we can make in here. Again, I don't actually know what these are used for right now. I'm assuming for wires and components, but we'll be able to play around with those a little bit later on. But for now, we're going to move on. I'm just going to put these down so they're not in my inventory. Boom, boom, boom. And I am going to take a quick break away from here. My voice is getting a little run down. I'm going to see if I can get some more villagers bred up, and then we'll be back once we get that done. And welcome back, everybody. It has been honestly longer than I'd like to admit since that last recording, but a little bit has been done in the area. And actually, we'll keep this down. We don't need this up. But yeah, I've started to create a little bit more of a decorative feel to the area. I have decided we're probably just going to end up staying over here for the whole of the PlayTorial. I was thinking of hopping out and making a base somewhere else, but I started kind of liking this area. So I set up some little manual farms here. I don't know if we're actually going to use them for very long. I did this because I wanted to get into villagers so we could start showing off some of the villagers for this mod. I did fix my villager breeder. I don't remember if I talked about that earlier on in the video, that I got it fixed. It was me being an idiot, so we're all good there. Ooh, I just heard somebody go zappy zappy. That's going to be down here because people are playing with their workbenches. Plonk. But yeah, we have a lot of different villagers down here. I grabbed some of the vanilla villagers for a couple different reasons. Unbreaking, mending, stuff like that. So, but I did grab three of the immersive engineering villagers. We are going to grab a fourth. I just didn't have the workbench down here yet. We've got a gunsmith, an electrician, and a machinist. We're going to go into a test world real quick to show off their stuff. Also, so we don't have to listen to all these villagers going, ha, for an hour. But I am going to unlock them more in this world. I'm just not going, I don't have the time to grind them all out. I've been grinding out villagers, and I feel this video's honestly been taking a lot longer than it should have to come out. So I want to kind of get it out. So I'm going to hop over into that test world. I have unlocked the trades of all 5 villagers for this pack. The other one's the shade villager. They trade in like shader packs. So we're going to hop on over and check them out. And here we are. So we have all 5 of the villagers from this. I've already talked about what each of them does. I just kind of wanted to show them off a little bit to you guys a bit more. Each of them is in front of their workstation. Obviously, those workstations are bigger. This guy is literally just a banner with any shader. So you can find a bunch of these in the world. And you just kind of right-click one onto a regular banner, and the villager will become that. And they're very useful, actually, some of them. So this guy here I could see being very useful, the electrician, mainly for buying some of the later stuff if you don't want to craft it. I actually thought these were carbon rods. Fluorescent tubes, probably not as much, but like amplifier electrodes, heat sinks, stuff like that, I think could be useful. We'll have to play around with him more, but he does buy copper wire and electrum wire. And I don't know, so I've unlocked this trade so far in our world up to this point, and this is the same. I think my guy has a hammer, so they'll trade the different tools. So we'll have to look into that and see if we, depending on which tool we want. I think the hammer gets used up faster, but we can automate the stuff later, which we'll be getting into hopefully in the next episode. Then we have the gunsmith, who actually I didn't know there was I didn't know anything really about this part of the mod. I never played around with the gunsmith components and everything like that. But there's a lot of stats on these. So like this is plus 20% luck. This is minus 201% luck, but also decreases noise and stuff like so. Fire rate and luck. So it's fire rate, luck, and noise are the only stats that I know of right now. And then there's obviously the different cartridges. We have buckshot, flares, and silver bullets, or silver cartridges is what they call them here. But we'll be able to play around with that hopefully in the future. It's good for taking out mobs, so we'll probably play around with that. This guy here, the structural engineer, who I wish I could buy more of these items from them rather than selling them, but the aluminum scaffolding might be useful to buy from them. And treated planks, 8 for an emerald, that's a steal. So we'll probably be doing that a good amount. But the real reason I like them are these mineral deposits right here. So they have a map, and let's see. So I don't know if this is going to work in a super flat. But I know that in, yeah, okay, so it doesn't work because we're in a super flat. But in the normal game, it'd open up an ore vein over in this area, which sadly it doesn't here. But that's what this map is for. It'll bring out like whole mineral deposits, which will be very useful because it has groups of the mineral, like the ores we'll need, the lead, the aluminum, the silver, stuff like that. Rather than finding the standard small clumps, we'll have full-on veins now, which would be very useful for collecting larger amounts of items. I don't know if they sell you the same map every time. We'll have to see that once it loads in. I have the time frozen here, so these guys aren't going to change their stuff, which I may change up and test out later. But for now, we're just going to kind of do that. Where do we need to go? More to the right. But I think that's going to be very useful, at least for the first time we do it. If it's only the one map, I'll just, you know, grab another guy and just kind of go. He didn't seem too hard to level up, and I think we'll be able to get a hold of the stuff for that pretty easily on in the future, because it is, you know, as I said, I'd be buying a bunch of treated stuff, and the concrete I don't think is too expensive if I'm remembering correctly. The guy that's kind of annoying to rank up early on would be this guy. At least getting through the first trade. He actually does the hammers, whereas I said this guy was doing... Okay, so this guy does the cutters, this guy does the hammers. Ooh, this guy does the hammers. Sweet. So I am able to get a hold of both, but getting the coal coke to handle this will be kind of annoying, but once I get into the copper, I can roll that. But this guy does some useful stuff, so we'll be able to get into mining drills doing this. So this one's a 2x2x1. With a mining level of iron, which means I won't be able to do obsidian, but I should be able to do everything else. And then it does have another one here, which is a 3x3x1. So it'll do... So the first one is a 2x2x1, obviously, and the other one will mine this area as long as I'm in the middle. Which is pretty awesome. I think it even shows your area of effect. There's a bunch of other stuff that goes into building the drills. If I'm remembering correctly, mining drill, yeah. So you get a whole mining drill like this, and then you put in the different heads, and I'm assuming these are upgrades. Increases the size of the mining drill, damage and digging speed. Yeah, so I'd end up making these guys up and adding them in, which again will be very helpful. Water wheel segments would be okay early on. Kind of seems like an odd thing to buy in a trade, but we'll see how it is. And then they all give a different blueprint, and this one does the arc furnace electrodes, which is pretty cool. So all in all, these guys are all very useful. Shaders, they're just kind of yeah. I've never really used them. They're just different. So like, let's go with this and this. So the shaders, as far as I can tell, are for banners. And you right click them on the banners and they do different shapes. And you can kind of do a lot of different things with them. There are these other ones, which are the ones you get from the traders. I think these don't go on banners. Yeah, so they're actually pretty fancy looking now that I'm looking at it. I like those. But yeah, so those are the ones you can buy from like these guys here. I think you can find them in loot chests and stuff like that throughout the world as well. But that's pretty much how these guys all line up. And I'm hoping to get a thing set up for them in our little area. We'll get like, probably just a building for them. And I'll just keep the vanilla ones kind of just tucked away. We're not going to use the vanilla ones too often, which I think is fine. So I think this is honestly going to be a good spot to wrap it up. I have been grinding out, trying to get the trades in the real world for these guys. And I think this was just an easier layout. So I want to get immediately into working on the next episode. So we're going to do that. And I do hope you guys did enjoy this. If I did miss something and there's something that you know a little bit more about the villagers or about their trade scales, please do let me know in the comments down below. To be very, very much appreciated. And as always, I want to thank you for stopping in. I hope you did enjoy, and I hope you have a nice night, day, morning, evening, whatever it is, wherever you are. This is my defense. I hope to see you again soon. Peace.